Hi, everyone. I would love to go over some of the different applications that we're going to be using in this class, but also kind of like the general, like what do web designers use? There's basically a bunch of different ones that web designers will use because of what web design is, because we are actually going to be working with basically the design aspects, the software. Think about something that's more Illustrator like or kind of more art centric. And then we get into the coding bit. And as we will see that uh, being a web designer doesn't necessarily need a lot of coding, but you do need to know some. So that's what we're going to be covering both ends of that in this course so we can be really strong and have a great start. So let me go ahead and share screen and show you guys. All right, so I pulled up a few links and I'll kind of go over them, but this is going to be the first bit. So think about just coding. And we'll get into the more exciting, more creative ones. Well, not that coding's not creative, but still like the more non-visual ones, I should say. So what you'll see here with coding, we're going to start really, really basic. And actually, people who do coding for professions, and or if you are, a programming major, you'll find that you'll be using something like this, a really basic text editor, because that's all you really need in order to code. The languages is what allows for us to add that kind of vibrancy and flair. But that's where we can get to start here with this kind of bare bones. And you can see that these are free software that people will use. This one happens to be for Mac, so BB Edit. And then we also have Notepad++, which is going to be for our PC users, and you'll be able to go ahead and utilize these just for those really basic kind of editors. Now, when we kind of get into what we're hopefully going to get into is kind of working backwards or maybe working forwards. We're going to be starting this course with a lot of the more visual design and then learning to code from the visual, because this is kind of where web designers kind of dwell mostly. We sometimes will go ahead and figure out a lot of different types of systems like design systems, etc. And we'll learn more about that. But what we'll start in is kind of like the software to kind of create the elements and the assets that you'll need for a website, etc. And then we'll bring them into, or we'll give them to someone else to code. Sometimes what you'll find is there are lots of different coding websites, but, or I guess online editors, but Webflow is going to be the one that we're going to be using in this class. We're going to start off in Figma, which is going to allow for us to visually kind of put things together. And then we're going to put it into Webflow for the code portion of it, and make sure that things are responsive, etc. We're going to first learn in those two basic software that we're talking about before, Notepad and Bare Bones, or BB Edit. But we're going to go when we're kind of like upgraded, if you will, we'll get into using Figma and then bringing it into Webflow. Now, other things that, there's so many different uh, um, different types of editors and design tools that web designers will use, but these are the ones that I've kind of cherry picked from the bunch. Now, you can see here that I also listed, you can use GIMP if you want a free kind of Photoshop alternative, or Photopea as a free Photoshop alternative. Photopea is a web-based software, so it doesn't necessarily require a download, but GIMP, as you can see, does. Each has, it's kind of like a duplicate or open source, aka freeware style of thing, and people have really enjoyed it, popularized it over time, because the complete leader of the industry, Adobe, is so expensive. Oh, yeah. So, you know, Adobe has quite a lot of software packages. They are kind of almost I think they're the industry leaders, and they also were like one of the first there on the scene when it comes to creating digital illustration. And then on top of that, kind of going with the times, making sure that they can have different types of software for different purposes. And you can see here, I'm just on the regular Adobe website. Underneath creativity and design, you'll see some of the ones that you might have heard of, like Photoshop, Lightroom. So those are going to be image editing and photo editing style things. And then you'll see that there's also Illustrator that will help you create vector graphics. We will talk about this, the idea of raster versus vector, and kind of where those things fit into our lives as designers. And then you can see that there are also, Premiere, which is video editing, etc. And you can see that they also have their own UI and UX design software. This is actually relatively new, called Adobe XD. Adobe XD, I believe, has a free trial, but if you are interested, actually, let me Google this real quick. If you are interested in purchasing Adobe software, make sure you get the student discount. Let me look at this real quick. All right, so I just kind of flew over to our district website, and you can see here that we have a section on Adobe Creative Cloud. And if you go to collegebuys.org, you can actually get Creative Cloud for a discounted rate. Let me just look this up. So you can see here that you can pay by the semester, basically. You can see that there's 6 months, so you'll be able to kind of utilize this. You just need to make sure that you can verify them, with this website. Totally legit. I've used College Buys in the past myself, and it's been a really effective way of making sure that you can get the software. So there's that. But yeah, these are, if you are interested in Adobe licensed software, then you can go to Adobe. But again, I've tried to make this course completely free. Well, not free, but free software to use. And to be honest with you, Figma and Webflow are kind of shaping up to be kind of the new industry standards, a really great thing to put on your resume that these different software packages. So I know that Adobe in the past, they've used Dreamweaver and some other things, but this is kind of where I think the future might lie, and it's a little bit inexpensive. Okay, so we're getting there. Anywho, this is what I wanted to kind of tell you guys in this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in another one.